Hey everybody, welcome to Obscurities in Miniatures. Today we have something that just came in the mail. This is the new plastic faun kit that RGD Gaming originally kickstarted, and it is now out in the wild. So this is a set. You get 24 multi-piece models like it says, in case you can't read, and I don't know why you're watching this if you can't read, but that's a whole different story. Anyway, so this is what we have got inside. You have some examples here. They do have a example of one of the centaurs. I'm not sure if there's centaurs actually included in the box. Let's take a look. But we have what looks to be a basic sprue, kind of like Wargames Atlantic, and I know Wargames Atlantic got involved in helping distribute these, so good on them. Wargames Atlantic has continued to impress me with what they've been doing, so hopefully they can keep up the good work. And hopefully we'll be seeing more from RGD Gaming in the future too. Okay, let's get one of these in a little bit better focus. This is the Fauns 02 sprue, so I'm assuming there is a 01 as well. And okay, I thought so. So what this is there's actually going to be two different sprues, it looks like, and I'm not showing any of them now. That's not good. Whee! Okay. As I thought I read somewhere, here is the 01. The 01 frame is going to be the male body frame. You can see manly chest there. And then the 02 frame is going to be the female one. So you're basically, actually a good 50-50 mix of models here. Hypothetically, I guess you probably could take the lower halves and switch the top halves, but I'm noticing the arms are definitely a little bit thinner on the female versions than they are on the male. You can see there's a bit more bulk here. So one of my initial worries with this kit was going to be that the pieces look really thin. And hopefully that's not going to be the case, but like looking at some of these great weapons, it's really thin looking, and hopefully once everything is glued, that's not going to be an issue. But like most modern multi-part kits, we do have just about all of the options that we're going to need. Unfortunately, you only do get one bow per sprue. You do have the, rack of javelins or spears to throw. We do have a couple of great weapons. It looks like two there, and then a hand axe. Lots of spears, lots of swords. Looks like two shields for this sprue, and then thankfully a lot of different head options. And a musical horn to toot, even though they've got horns on their heads, and then some shoulder pads as well. So, decent amount of options there. Let's take a look at the female sprue in a little bit more depth. So same thing, we have one bow, another horn, the rack of spears or javelins, and then two different shields. I did have some metal shields included. I'm not sure if I'm going to use them for these guys or gals or not. Let's see if we can get the heads better there. So these are the female faun heads. Like no hair on that one. And again, similar to the male ones, we have a couple of great weapons. We have our hand axes and clubs. We have the swords. And plenty of spears for everybody. So that's a nice little touch there. And I was correct. We do seem to have a sprue of the centaurs. Now this is interesting. So you have two different halves here. And to further complement your faun sprues, you have even more options for the torsos. There is some female ones, 2 female, 4 male. Couple more heads. I think this is supposed to be like armor for the front of the horse section. Some more traditional Greek style normal headed centaurs. I'm assuming those are supposed to be, but I don't know why we couldn't put the faun heads on them as well. Looks like a horse tail. I think there's a bunch of these like spear tips, or just polearm tips. I'm pretty sure this hand and this hand are supposed to use these bits to go with it. Those look decidedly male, though. There are a couple of random female arms on here. Plenty more weapons. Alright, well, you know what? Let me go get some clippers. We'll put a few together and we'll show them off. Okay, so I went ahead and painted one, actually. We'll talk about the other models, and I just wanted to show her off. So while I was concerned a little bit about the thinness of the parts, overall it didn't really seem to be an issue. It was more of an issue when building them, but the completed kit, not bad, I gotta say. It's not like they were a model that I had a strong need for, but it's always cool to see something different get put out there, so I'm all for that. Let's have her get joined by some friends. So I went ahead and built a sprue of each. Let's get some of the other females represented. Now, they did not include bases, but much like Wargames Atlantic, that's kind of, you got to do it on your own. And considering especially the posing of the spears and just the close combat stuff, I think if you were going to mass them up into ranked formations, I think they would work really well. Really, really well. So they're very thin, very skinny, and I gotta say, at least there is a bit of variety in terms of the posing, you can see here. So not everybody looks the same as the others. There is some variety in how they look, and especially with all the various head options, I really think you're going to get a lot of variety and choice of unique models, and that's not even taking into account the centaur stuff. So the centaurs, I have no idea if I actually built him correctly. I went ahead and tried to make him a little bit of an armored frontispiece, but he's actually on just a 25mm base. They're not very big in terms of, when I think centaur, I think, full-size horse with a human on top, but no, they kind of just, they're their own thing, and it works. It really does work. Not to detract from him at all. This guy was a pain trying to get that to glue correctly, and I'm not really a big fan of his pose, but it is what it is. And again, I think that's just the thinness. I'm not sure if I built this correctly with his polearm topper. But yeah, overall, a nice little kit. And I do enjoy the options. I can see, however, if you were going to want to build up a complete unit of, let's say, archers, that would be an issue. You're not going to have enough for everybody, but I guess at that point you can just, split it up, archers and a little bit of skirmishers with shields and spears or something like that. I'm sure you guys are all curious how they're going to stack up with other tabletop models. So I'm going to grab a male, a centaur, and a female. You got to stay on the screen, dude. And let's get our usual cast and crew here. Sadly, I can't think of any unadorned arms that would really fit these guys if you wanted to do a lot of converting. I think that's going to be a challenge. So you can see they are pretty much in scale with other human models out there. Obviously, they're not human, so that's going to be a bit of an issue. But I think scale-wise, I don't think satyrs and fauns are supposed to be gigantic monsters by any stretch. I'm grabbing a Frostgrave, Ghost Archipelago, an Oathmark. We'll put in a Reaper Bones model. I know somebody asked about that. So again, I think if you were going to use these for any kind of an encounter, any kind of a forest skirmish type game, I think they'd work really great. Obviously, the centaurs, it's a bit of a bonus. I don't think if you're going to buy these exclusively for the centaurs, just be aware they're not going to be huge towering monstrosities. I was a bit dismayed at that. That's what I was expecting, but that's my own expectation versus, maybe I should have paid better attention during the actual Kickstarter, and I'm kind of guilty of not doing that very often. So, overall, I'd say this is quite a cool little kit. The fact that you get enough to make a wide variety of armor or unarmored, there's plenty of the shoulder pads for everybody, you have plenty of shields, and other than the fact that you don't have enough of certain weapons, other than that, I gotta say, for a first-time kit from a new company, it's a really ambitious job, and I think they did exactly what they set out to do, and for that, I am suitably impressed. Yeah, I sound really nitpicky, but I guess that's the position I'm afforded, to be doing this independently on YouTube and saying whatever I feel like. But no, I'm really impressed, and honestly, congratulations to RGD Gaming for getting these guys out and onto the market, and I am also excited to see their inevitable sci-fi ants. Well, if they are sci-fi. They had a giant ant kit that they've been teasing is going to be their next boxed set, so I'm quite curious to see that. But overall, really cool. We'll put a link down below, and hopefully you guys, if you're curious, you can check those out as well. With that said, this has been High Lord Tamberlane with Obscurities and Miniatures, saying thanks for watching, and we'll see you back here soon. Bye-bye.